Your looks don't need to determine your personality. This is something that I wish young me could have heard, because for so long I've had this kind of dilemma where I've been like, oh, I just don't know how to dress, I don't know what my style is. And I think that's just because I was trying to figure out who I was, and I felt like I had to dress accordingly. But now I'm realizing that I can just dress how I want to. I can use that time in the morning when I'm getting dressed as a time to play and be creative and explore. It doesn't need to be a time where I'm dressing to represent myself. That puts so much more pressure on me. And also, how do you represent yourself through how you look? We're so multifaceted as humans, I think it's impossible. We're destined to be misunderstood if people are just going to conjure up an idea of our character based on how we look. These days, I don't really have a style. I think I dress quite differently every day. And there was a time when I was really trying to dress very gay because I wanted people to know I was gay. And I think I come across as quite straight. And that really upset me for a really long time. But I feel like now I'm really making peace with the fact that if people want to know me, then they're going to have to talk to me. The people that are worth keeping around are the people that are going to listen and not just judge me based on how I look. Hello beautiful people, I'm Alessia, for those of you that don't know me. For those of you that are returning viewers, part of my YouTube community, I love you so much. I'm so glad that you're back again watching another video. This one's a vulnerable one because I feel like the topic is quite sensitive and I really don't want to offend or hurt anyone. I just want to be vulnerable and honest because that's where our power is, in vulnerability, in being honest, in sharing our true emotions and experiences in this life. So here we go. I'm very aware that in terms of Western beauty standards, I'm regarded as attractive. So I have felt apologetic for how I look for quite some time now. I've had a weird relationship with my body and my appearance, as all women do, to be honest. And this makes me feel like I need to take up less space physically and less of people's time. I feel like unless I'm making a serious effort to be really kind with people and be really humble and not accept compliments, people are going to view me as conceited and up myself. I feel like I have to keep my opinions and my insights to myself because otherwise people are going to get annoyed that I'm not staying in my lane. You know, you can't be pretty and smart. Those things don't coexist. Now, before I go on with this video, I want to be very clear that being pretty is beneficial. You're more likely to get hired. I'm very aware that my YouTube channel is more likely to thrive and to get more clicks because of how I look. There's no doubt that being a beautiful woman is powerful in this world that's so obsessed with how people look, but particularly how women look. So there is power in having a conventionally attractive body and face. There really is. Being perceived by other people as attractive can take you places. It can bring good things into your life for sure. But it's a double-edged sword because if people categorize you as a pretty person, they're less likely to take you seriously. In my personal experience, I have felt like because people say she's pretty, they're less interested in what I have to say. Now, I really want us women to come together in this conversation rather than fight each other and criticize each other because we all have the shared experience of living in a patriarchal world. One thing that we can all get is that it's not easy. Our relationship to our bodies and our appearances and our face is complicated. And at some point, our appearance would have been used against us to criticize us or our character. How I feel about my body and my appearance, it changes all the time. You know, when I was younger, I felt very different to how I feel now. Sometimes it will depend on the day. Sometimes I'll feel good, sometimes I'll feel disconnected, sometimes I'll feel confident, sometimes I'll feel overly aware of how I'm looking and uncomfortable as a consequence of that. Sometimes I will feel, I hate to say it, but disgusted and insecure. As women, we can come together and hold so much kindness and gentleness for each other when it comes to our relationships with our bodies because, man, there is just so much complication because of the world that we live in that just polices our bodies and how we should look. There is so much shame and uncomfortableness and power, but then disempowerment, and it's confusing. I don't know how you feel about your body right now, you watching, but if I get you to think about it for a second, I'm sure you're not just going to know. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of thoughts going on, maybe some contradicting thoughts, maybe some experiences and memories that come up. So I'd quickly like to thank BetterHelp for being a paid partner with this video. I'm honestly so grateful that BetterHelp exists because I've been working with the most amazing therapist for a while now, and they have done so much for me, or as they often remind me, actually, I've done so much for myself with them supporting me. But honestly, over the years, I've kept a lot to myself. And now I'm really seeing, as my therapist helps me externalize my pain and my insecurities, that healing is actually possible. I really can't say this enough, but never doubt the power of talking about your problems. My BetterHelp therapist has helped me instigate so much positive change in such a short period of time. I used to think actually that I had too much to fix, that I was kind of abnormal. But now I'm realizing that I'm just a human navigating life, the ups and the downs. I don't feel like a problem that needs to be fixed anymore. I feel like little me is healing thanks to my weekly sessions. So if you want to connect with a therapist like I've done, go to betterhelp.com/Southerberry, or just choose Alessia Southerberry, my YouTube name, when you're signing up. This will allow you to enjoy a special discount in your first month of therapy. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for being a paid partner with this video. At some point, no matter who you are as a woman, I do believe that you will be criticised about how you look, either by other people or by yourself. It's really hard to not soak up the toxic messaging that is out there in this world, the toxic diet culture messaging, the messaging that beauty companies pump out into the world that make us feel insecure, so we buy their products. It's so hard to just switch off and not take in all the nasty messaging. Whether we like it or not, our subconscious is always listening. So please don't feel bad if you do get nasty thoughts in your head, if you do judge yourself and criticize your body. I'm sure you're hyper aware that you do it, and I'm sure you're making an active effort to stop doing it, but don't punish yourself if you do get those thoughts, because we're immersed in a world that is so loudly criticizing our bodies. It feels like our bodies are always the central topic of conversation. So please don't get angry at yourself as the individual for responding to that. And don't say, oh, it's your fault, you should be healed by now, because you're aware. It takes time to readjust your relationship with your body and how you speak to it. So I feel like I have these two kind of conceptions of myself. One as the pretty person, because I'm often regarded by people as attractive, as pretty. And one as the insecure, uncomfortable person who doesn't really like her body. And I've realized through my research that this duality is actually super common. And it's no wonder, because us women are constantly, our bodies are constantly being talked about. One moment someone might oh, the sun's out. It's really bright. One moment someone might compliment your appearance and say you look like this conventionally attractive celebrity, and you might feel really great off the back of that. And the next moment someone might comment on how spotty your skin is. This constant dialogue and opinion on how we look makes us hyper aware of how we look, makes us hyper aware of what we have to brag about, what we look good in, what are our best features. But it also makes us hyper aware of where all our flaws are. I just wish that we lived in a society that would speak about how women look less, because it's the least interesting part about us. And it's no wonder if there is so much dialogue and interest in how we look that we're just gonna be so aware of every single inch of our body. And I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it's necessary for us to hone in on our pores on our nose, because society spends so much time looking at women's bodies and judging them. We inevitably end up doing that to ourselves. And I just wish there was less focus on how we look and more focus on how we feel, on the good that we're doing in the world, on our talents. The amount of time and energy that I've spent in my life looking in the mirror, trying to get the outfit that suits me, that flatters my figure, rather than the outfit that makes me feel like myself. Oh, I've already said this, but how we look is the least interesting thing about us as women or as humans. recently I was talking about this topic and I had a comment under one of my videos saying, oh, if she feels insecure, then I don't have hope. And I really recognize this, and I really hold space for this thought because I'm privileged. I am white, I'm cisgendered, I'm able-bodied, I have pretty privilege for sure. Yet I still feel uncomfortable with how I look in my body. I still feel uncomfortable when I get into a bikini at the start of a holiday. And the sad thing is, I don't think you'll find one woman that hasn't felt uncomfortable with how they look at some point. Even the Bella Hadids of the world have spoken about feeling insecure. And I think that is just going to happen as a consequence of living under patriarchal capitalism. Because insecure women make white male CEOs money. They get rich when we're insecure because we have to buy products to make ourselves look prettier. We shave our legs, we get beauty masks, we spend lots of money putting lots of creams and products in our hair, on our skin. Now, I'm not saying this because I want you to feel stupid at all. I'm saying this because I have so much sympathy for women that feel insecure, because I'm one of them. Particularly when I was younger, I was one of them. I'm certainly in a much healthier place now. I would say I'm actually quite distanced now from how I look. I don't spend anywhere near as much time looking at myself in the mirror and contemplating how I look anymore. But yeah, I'm saying all of this because I want you to recognize that it's not your fault. You live in a world that makes you insecure, that makes money from your insecurities. There are higher powers at play. I know that this is going to sound so cliche, but I really do think the most beautiful people in the world are the people that take the time to be gentle with themselves. Because when you're gentle and kind to yourself, you can do the same for others. I really want you to know right now that the thing that I believe makes you beautiful is your inner quirks, your personality, your interests. Your life experience makes you beautiful. And if that comes with wrinkles and cellulite, then so be it. That's life. That's part of the human experience. And I know there's lots of nasty commentary on aging women, but as I get older and as I start to age, I really want to get involved in destigmatizing aging, because it's unfair that women feel ugly the older they get. You're just getting wiser and you're just having more life experience and learning more about yourself. So if anything, I think you're getting more beautiful. So I have held back my opinions at dinner tables. I have made myself small and quiet, and I have not made jokes, and I've not been myself, and I've dulled my sparkle because I felt like I'm up myself and conceited if I took up that space, because I already feel like I am taking up space because of how I look. But I don't want to be apologetic, and I don't think any woman should be apologetic just because she looks a certain way. Whether you relate to me or not, maybe you feel the opposite, maybe you don't feel attractive. This video is for those of you that don't want to feel apologetic about how you look anymore. For those of you that want to just be yourself and be a little less bothered about the vessel that you are moving around in this world in. I know we live in a world that very loudly critiques women's bodies, that's very interested in how women appear. But in everyday situations, like when you're going to the supermarket or when you're going for a walk in your local park, people don't have the time to criticize your appearance, to hone in on your flaws, to figure you out. I really get that because we live in a world where we have social media, it's very easy to think that everyone's always watching you and interested in you. I realise because online it seems like everyone has an opinion. People give attention to how people look, people can be nasty. It's very easy to project what we see online onto the offline world and think that everyone's like that. But people go online to look at other people. But when people are offline, they're only really thinking about themselves and living in their world and living out their lives. People don't really have the time to judge you. And I find this really reassuring that if you're passing somebody on the street and they look at you, the likelihood is they're not judging you. They're probably thinking about what they've got to do that day. And if they've looked in your direction, maybe it's because you have the same trousers as them. Maybe it's because they want to get the same haircut as you. Maybe it's because you look like one of their friends. The likelihood that somebody is looking at you to judge you and criticize you, a stranger on the street, is minimal. The average person doesn't really gain anything from taking the time to criticize you. So if you can, I really encourage you to stop convincing yourself that everybody has something nasty to say about you. Do you know what I find so reassuring? The people that pass you on the street, that look at you maybe, will forget that you exist, will forget what you look like. Think about the amount of people that you've passed in your life. So many people, right? You don't need to be apologetic in how you look. You don't need to hide yourself away because people aren't looking hard enough. When you're going about your daily life in the real world, in the offline world, you don't need to worry about other people being so interested in you because everyone has got their own battles, their own struggles, their own insecurities that they're consumed with. So I've noticed when I've been going to my local park, as it's been getting hotter and I've been wearing less clothes, I feel a bit more aware of my existence in this body. I feel a bit more uncomfortable and apologetic in my body. And I convince myself that people are judging me if people look my way. But the likelihood is people are just looking over and noticing their surroundings. It's very easy to convince yourself that people are looking at you and trying to figure you out and noticing the hair on your legs, but that just doesn't happen. When's the last time that you really deeply judged a stranger? And if you have, I think that's more a reflection of you. When people take the time to criticize somebody, it's a reflection of them. For example, when I was younger, I was really deeply insecure about my legs, and all I would do was look at other people's legs. And I wasn't actually really judging them. I was just comparing them to my own legs. The commentary that was going on in my head was way more about me than it was about the other people. Something I really want to encourage you to do, something that I actually haven't started doing yet myself. I just thought of this when I was writing up this video. I want you to communicate to your loved ones, to your friends, your family, your partner, how you like to be complimented. What makes you feel appreciated, deeply appreciated and special. Because for me, being told that I look good doesn't really resonate with me. I don't see myself as a beautiful person. That doesn't make me feel valued. I value myself because I pour my love and energy into this YouTube channel, because I'm dedicated, because I feel like I have knowledge in this area that I'm talking about. I feel intelligent. I feel like I'm a kind and thoughtful person. But when 90% of the time people are saying you're beautiful, it's very easy to feel like people are misunderstanding you and to feel lonely. So I really encourage you to let the people around you know what makes you feel valued. And if people are constantly commenting on your appearance and it doesn't feel right for you, you're well within your rights to tell them that. What I often find is people usually compliment you based on the thing that they want to be complimented on. For example, when I was younger, I used to always compliment people on how they looked. And I think it's because I wanted to feel pretty. Whereas now I want people to compliment me on my personality. And now all I really do is compliment people's personalities. I try to give compliments that go beyond the appearance because that's what makes me feel special. So please do realise if people are complimenting you in a way that you don't like, they're trying their best and they're probably telling you what they want to hear. I'm so sorry, it was just getting too sunny there, so I've just had to move you for a second. So, people are going to put you in a box because of how you appear. They're going to think, because she looks like that, she's like this. It doesn't mean you need to stay in that box. It doesn't mean you need to, people please and just give people what they expect and what they want to see from you. Maybe you're a really intelligent person and people have put you in this box of she's the blonde bimbo. You can step yourself out of that box and show people the real you. I know it's really hard because we live in a world that's quite naive. where people think because she looks this way, she's going to act like that. But looks don't determine behaviour. Your looks don't need to determine your personality. This is something that I wish young me could have heard, because for so long I've had this kind of dilemma where I've been like, oh, I just don't know how to dress, I don't know what my style is. And I think that's just because I was trying to figure out who I was, and I felt like I had to dress accordingly. But now I'm realising that I can just dress how I want to. I can use that time in the morning when I'm getting dressed as a time to play and be creative and explore. It doesn't need to be a time where I'm dressing to represent myself. That puts so much more pressure on me. And also, how do you represent yourself through how you look? We're so multifaceted as humans, I think it's impossible. We're destined to be misunderstood if people are just going to conjure up an idea of our character based on how we look. These days, I don't really have a style. I think I dress quite differently every day. And there was a time when I was really trying to dress very gay because I wanted people to know I was gay. And I think I come across as quite straight. And that really upset me for a really long time. But I feel like now I'm really making peace with the fact that if people want to know me, then they're going to have to talk to me. And the people that are worth keeping around are the people that are going to listen and not just judge me based on how I look. So if people are constantly commenting or complimenting how you look, saying, oh, you're so beautiful, you might start to feel this pressure to maintain this beautiful look, to give people the wow factor. You would have probably learned that that's what keeps people around. It's what keeps people interested, happy. This pressure to look good all the time will take away so much of your energy, the energy that should be going into actually being yourself and forging deep connections with people. This pressure to always look attractive will stop you from having fun, because it's so hard to really express yourself, your opinions, your ideas, your thoughts when you're so focused on how you're coming across, on making sure that your face looks good and that people are getting the right angle of you, the good angle. It's really hard to let your internal dialogue lead the way and allow you to connect with somebody when you're so focused on looking attractive. We can't do two things at once. We can't express ourselves authentically and tell people what's been going on in our week, and also focus on looking attractive and on making sure that our outfit is in place and that our face is nicely pouted and that we are standing in the right position. You can't do two things at once, so you kind of have to pick one. And these days I'm very much focused on expressing myself authentically, and I'm reminding myself gently that it's okay if people perceive me as not attractive, or whatever judgments they want to make on my appearance, that's okay, because that's not really who I am. Who I am is a sister, a friend, a partner, a nature lover, somebody who's deeply passionate about empowering women. That's what I want to make clear. And I can do that only if I give myself the space, the time, and the energy to do that. And I do feel like I've been doing that recently, because I've really let go of the need to look a certain way. And I have a lot of trust that the beauty will shine from within outward. Really quickly want to say, there are obviously people that I'm just going to be physically attracted to, but their beauty might quickly become irrelevant if they're not very nice, if they're not good listeners, if they're not very kind people. I very quickly forget how people look when their good looks aren't matched with a good personality. I just kind of wanted to remind you of that, because it's very easy to think that looks are the most important thing in this world. I really hope you enjoyed this video, my lovely. I hope it made you feel seen or heard, or less insecure or less shameful. I know as women, we really hold a lot of shame, because a lot of shame is imparted onto us, into us, through the culture that we're in, through interactions with people. And I really hope that you can hold space for yourself and be kind and gentle with yourself and the women in this YouTube community. Please have dialogues with each other in the comment section. I love that. And yeah, subscribe, hit the little bell notification, and I'll see you next week.